up, family? I want to welcome everybody to Big Goose TV Show, where we chop it up and keep it 100. And today, we got a very special guest in the building. You introduce yourself, Mosa?
Chad Kalilimoku, former UH player, linebacker, and coaching out here in Vegas, trying to help the youth out.
I want to go over your life, if you don't mind. Can we start from the beginning, where it all started for you?
Yeah, well, it's a long way back. Huh? From high school days. So I went to Roosevelt High School. That's like in the Poplar area. And I was a 4-year starter for the varsity. I played over there with a bunch of other guys who went to University of Hawaii too. But that was like the basic upbringing there. I started my junior, senior, I started getting noticed, you know. So I mean, all state honors, and then we had the MVP defensive players. When I started to more enjoy football and like want to do something with that. It's hard for the life of like kids from back home. Like, we don't get the exposure the mainland kids do, you know. Like, there's a lot of hidden talent out there that no one sees because there ain't enough like media on them. Like, you ain't playing these national games where you're getting ranked or anything. You just staying and playing your own teams on the island. So you definitely got to work a little harder and try and get your name out there. But I mean, like everything else, like if you work hard and stuff, like it'll pay off, you know. It's not my plan, you know, it's the Lord's plan. So everything happens for a reason. So I mean, it's definitely harder though. It was a difficult role because I got recruited out of Missouri Valley, and that's where my letter of intent I signed to. So right out of high school, I went to Missouri, and I was told I could practice and play there. But when I got there, I wasn't able to play at all. Like, I wasn't even in practice. So I only spent half a semester there, and I came back home, and I started working. I worked at this grocery store. I worked there about the other half of the year, and then come around summertime, this kid who played at my high school, Elia, he called me back, and he played at Santa Ana, and he recruited me to come play ball, because I was about to give ball up, you know. So he recruited me. I came back that summer. Me and my parents, we flew out to California. We met the coaches at the JC, and we liked it there, so I started playing there. And like, football just started coming back to me, and like, my first season there, I did real well. Like, I took the starter's job, and I was like, I don't know if you guys know, but there's JC Gridwire,
Okay.
like the top 100 players in JC. So I was like top 25 players, linebackers, that I made all these other awards, like first team All-State, first team All-American, the big hitter award. That was my first year. And then all these colleges started coming, man, like Utah, LSU, Alabama, and USC started coming to recruit me.
Now, at that time, Twitter wasn't around.
No, there was no Twitter.
No social media.
No.
So you had to be a beast
like,
on the field to even be recognized. So it was more of somebody had to see you to put in that good word, like, hey, Chad Kalilimoku, he's a beast. Is that how that kind of worked back in the days?
That's kind of how it was. Like, you'd be lucky if you get caught on film. Like, if the coaches are watching some other team or some other player, and they all of a sudden see this kid and they start taking interest, or it's either like phone call. You know, there's no other media stuff. Like, I had coaches tell me, "Oh yeah, I was watching this old lineman and this other team who played, and he's like, I saw you, and I was like interested, and that's how we got connected."
You could have went anywhere. You know, and nowadays, you know, we see all this hype on Twitter and social media. Oh, this kid has 25 plus offers, 30 plus offers, et cetera, but you can only go to one school.
Right.
So what was the determining factor for Chad to say, you know what, I'm going to UH?
Well, I think it was my parents, you know. It was a gift. As most Polynesian kids back home, you know, most of us can't afford to go to college. So it was like a gift. It was actually a Christmas gift that I told my mom I'm coming home to play. So I could play in front of them, you know? Because they put in all the work. Like, my dad trained me like crazy, so I wanted to give back to them. For them to be able to see me on the field is probably no better gift than anything else. So that was my reason of going home.
So now we're at UH. We've been recruited. You decided to sign to UH.
Yeah.
Was that a very special moment on signing day?
Well, yeah. It was like my whole family was there, and like all the people that used to watch you, you know. It's like almost a gift to them too, because they supported like everybody. So, and you know, is that like us as Polynesian people, like it's much more than football, you know. It's your name, your culture. That's what you play for. So that's the reason why I went to Hawaii. That's what I wanted to embed in like my children and the people I play for.
That aloha spirit.
Yep.
So you always had that mana.
Yep.
What year was this? Can you take us back to that year?
Shit, it was a long time ago. No, it was like, my years was 2003 to 2005. So Timmy Chang was the quarterback there. And we had another one, Jason Wilden. Jason Wilden was a guy who came from JC same time as I did. Yeah.
So June Jones was the head coach?
June Jones was my head coach, yep. Lumpkin was the defensive coordinator.
How was it playing for a legendary coach like June Jones?
I mean, it was great. Like, I mean, that guy, he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows every position that is on that field. Like, you gotta know what you're doing. He's gonna, not your position coach, he's gonna treat you out, you know?
Right.
But just the knowledge that he brings to everyone from where he's come, you know? He took that whole team to a whole new level.
What was college life like for you?
College was a lot different. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different nowadays, but like, mostly like, it's a job, you know? You're there from this time in the morning till like late at night, and all you're doing is football, football, football. I mean, you go to school, but it's hard. Like, you're thinking about that preparation for that week of the game. So like, you're there watching film, you're there training, practice. I mean, it's a job, definitely.
How old were you at this time, Chad, when you were playing for Hawaii?
So I was like 23.
So being young, 23, things can happen outside of football. How'd you stay focused as far as not only having to be a student athlete on and off the field, but just dealing with knowing the fact that it's a comfort zone for you. You have everything you grew up around you, some good, some bad. How'd you stay focused?
Well, that upbringing of my father, you know, like, it's hard to balance like your friend, your family, and football at the same time, and school. But like, I was always taught, you know, you gotta train. This is what you're here for. So and my brother was always pushing me, you know. He's like, hey, you got a game feet, you gotta train. So he'd come train with me. I mean, I lost some friends along the way, but that was my goal. That's the reason I was there, was for football.
So you trusted the process and you were all in?
Yeah, like I had to give it up for football no matter what, you know.
So we talked about, you know, how important family is.
Yeah.
And I believe from listening to you, that played a big part in your recruiting and the man that you are today.
Yeah, for sure.
So after UH, what brings you to Las Vegas?
I played for an arena team here.
Okay.
And then they shut down the arena league, so. And then I just met a bunch of Polynesians up here that was from back home. So then we started clicking. We played for the Island Warriors semi-pro team.
Shout out to the Island Warriors.
Yeah. So, and like everything just fell into place. Like the same thing we have back home, the camaraderie, the family life, and everything just fell into place. And everyone's about football too, so I just stuck myself around those type of people.
The Ninth Island.
Yeah.
And after that, we transitioned to coaching.
Yeah, we went into coaching. So we started coaching the Island Warriors, the youths, and then we went straight off to Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah, we started at the freshman level at Liberty, and then a year after that we went up to the varsity.
How was that vibe at Liberty?
Oh, it was great. Like we brought everybody from that was coaching the Island Warriors up there, so we ran almost the similar game plan. It was funny because we ran the double wig. Not much people run the double wig no more. The first time I seen the double wig,
Georgia Tech offense.
Yeah, first time I seen them since I've been up here. You know, it was nice, but like the same thing with the camaraderie was just awesome.
Because I think during those years you were at Liberty, you guys are responsible for what we now know as the Polynesian Pipeline through Liberty.
Right.
I think before then, you really didn't hear about Polynesians at Liberty. Yeah. I mean, I seen an interview a week ago with Coach Morocco, and he was saying, you know, back in the old days, there weren't that many kids in the program.
Yeah. And
it kind of seems like when the Polynesian staff started coming along, now all of a sudden you got D1 linemen, D1 linebackers, cornerbacks. I mean, one of the famous Liberty players that I'm pretty sure you got to coach him was one of the Nakua brothers, right?
Right.
So, I mean, how does that feel knowing that you were one of the innovators for the Polynesian Pipeline at Liberty?
Well, it feels awesome. Like, going back to how far that was, like, it was a long process of just getting Polynesians to filter out to that high school, you know? And, like, once they started getting them and everyone just started coming and everything just started flowing nicely, like, you got staffs coming to help from Hawaii who's played ball somewhere, and you got families just supporting. It's like a little college back home, you know. Like everyone was supporting on it. Everyone was in on that deal. So.
And how many years were you there at Liberty while you were coaching?
I was there for 5 years.
But you got a hell of a resume, my brother. I mean, starting from the beginning, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
I would say. Now you're here in Vegas. You traveled all the way from Hawaii, came this way, made a home in Las Vegas, and then life hits you.
Yeah.
You know, we catch COVID, and not a lot of people make it through that, Mom. So.
Yeah.
Can we explain that journey, man, if you don't mind? Just the mental and physical strength that it took you to make it out of that.
It took everything I had in me to try to make it out of that. I mean, I had friends that I knew that was in the hospital too with me. Like, they didn't make it out of there, but I went back to work, and when I was on that plane, I just started coughing, and, you know, like any local boy, like, they'd be like, oh, I'll shake it off, you know, it should go away. I didn't know much about it, so I started like losing my breath and my skin started getting pale. And I think my oxygen was down to 60. My wife was just like, hey, you need to go to the hospital. So as soon as I hit that door, man, I fell to my knees, and like the nurses came rushing, come and help me on the bed and get me where I needed to be. But I've been there for like 2 weeks, and I thought everything was going fine, and then my oxygen just started to drop, and I couldn't do no more, you know, like you feel helpless, you know, like you're trying to do stuff to improve your situation, but no matter what you do, like you just keep failing. So it was rough, like I feel sorry for the people who've been there alone, like, I don't know, mentally, I don't know how they can do it, like, it's almost like there's no hope, like you want to give up, you know. But I had a lot of like people behind my back, so like this youth team that I coach.
Okay.
So like every day they were praying for me, you know, and like they'd send me videos, and then like had other people on Facebook, like our Polynesian family, they would pray for me and everything. I met a lot of nice people, like who just like, you know, they're genuinely nice and just want the best for you. So I wouldn't say it was all bad, but it was good. There's good outcomes. Like I've helped people who was in the same situation. You know, I've like helped people who like literally wanted to take their life. Like, man, I had like, I wasn't like, I would would say strictly like that powerful guy who would like be into God, you know. But man, that made me hit rock bottom where everything was like God first. God will take care of it, you know.
What's going through your mind, my brother?
Well, that week when I was doing good, and then I started to drop, and I couldn't do nothing. So like, I sat there just thinking, man, it's probably my time to go. You know, who I gotta call to make things right. Like, and I prayed. I said, hey, all I asked from him is that I wanted to see like my son and my wife, and that's all I ever wanted before I left. If I did leave. So, as like the doctors come in, you know, you know they sugarcoat stuff because they don't want to tell you the worst. You know?
Right.
So this doctor comes in, he's like telling me, oh, man, you're gonna be on life support your whole life. I said, man, you know, you just sit there and you got nobody. Like, I got monitors, like just seeing my numbers come down. I'm like, man, like, it's time to go. So the next doctor come in, he's like, the best we can do for you is we'll have to put you on a lung transplant. Because where the lungs like collect all the air, I only had like, my left side was all gone. And I only had like 25% left in one lung so that you could exchange, you know. And all the rest of them, I guess, was just because of the COVID, it blocked it all out. So, I mean, just hearing that news alone, I'm like, man, you think to yourself, like, man, I really messed up, you know? So, yeah, that's all I asked. I said, just let me see my son, let me see my wife. And what was funny, like, maybe like 3 days later, my wife showed up. Oh, and my mom. And then my wife did all the talking, you know, the doctors wanted to put me on the ventilator. I was like, my wife's like, nope, he ain't doing that. Let me do my home remedies. So she looked up a lot of home remedy stuff and like, she did on them. Like my numbers just like started to improve. Like, so I was like on 12 liters. I mean, I was dropping down in liters and my numbers were like low. So like, our normal rate, like 92 and above, is like good oxygen level, you know? And I was down to like maybe like, I was like cruising around like the 71 to 82, which was still, I was getting assisted oxygen. Like I couldn't do it on my own. But she started doing some home remedy stuff and a bunch of my friends from back home called and we started praying. My numbers started to get better. Like, I started climbing, like every time my wife would come and massage my back, my numbers would start going back up in the 90s. Then like when she would leave, it would slowly come back down. The guys would pray, you'd see my numbers climb. So that was like the little light I had, you know, at the end of the tunnel. Because I was ready to just give up. And then maybe like 3 days later, my son came. And I don't know, it was a big moment for me because that's all I wanted. I said before I left this earth, I want to see my son, you know?
It's all right, Oaks.
Yeah.
You're human, man, and that's why I love this interview. And I respect you for being yourself and being transparent, man, because like we talked off camera 5 minutes ago, your story is going to inspire people around the world, man, that's going through that or have lost family members, man. So, like I said, man, the transparency that you have and your honesty right now, I respect you and I salute it, man. So, you laying there, the strength of your wife, then the strength of your son, that uplift your spirits. And God was working with you. Your numbers got better, your breathing got better.
Yeah.
So when did it finally turn around for the positive, where you was like, you know what, I'm feeling like myself again, I'm feeling like Chad again?
Well, it started when my son was there, and like, we had a big boost in my numbers, and my numbers was just like staying level around there, like 89, maybe 90. And then my mom was also there. So every day my wife just said, you know, baby, you gotta work, you gotta keep working. So I'd push and fight every day while she did her thing. And like, I just kept exercising, you know? And like, for some reason, these doctors couldn't figure out what was going on because I was supposed to be at a decline and it was supposed to take me a little longer. And then we take x-rays and all of a sudden my lungs getting better. And they can't explain why. So, I mean, right there and then, me and my wife knew like, oh, you know, God's doing his work.
God is real, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny, you know, like, the Lord, yes, of course, blessed me. But if you know my wife, like, she was not, like, one into God. So, like, she'd be around, and she's usually, like, she's not one to, like, pray in front of people. But I lay there on my bed, and you just watch her. Like, nurses come in, and she start praying, and doesn't have a care in the world what the word, like, the nurses think. It was just funny watching the Lord, like, work through her, you know? It was funny.
You had a strong wife, so.
Well, yeah, but everybody was thinking it was about me. I mean, of course it's me, but, like, to watch him work through somebody else,
Yeah.
that was inspiring.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, like, even, like, family members, like, I have a couple family members, like, I'm sure, like, all of you, like, you would say to them, like, if you ever walked in a church, the pillars would fall.
Mm.
But these guys are in, like, men's group now. Like, they're hard into the Lord, you know, like, through me, like.
You inspired them to get closer
Right,
to the
I'll
Lord.
take that fall any day. To have these guys, like, connect with the Lord, you know? Like, that's, like, the other inspirations that happen around me. So.
Cause you know what's crazy, and shout out to your wife, man.
Yeah.
But I seen the video. It's crazy to me because that's how I knew you were Polynesian. You just got that Polynesian strength, man.
Oh, yeah.
Literally after leaving the hospital, there's a video of you, and I can tell you still got the tube.
Oh, yeah.
And you lifting weights. Like, you don't see that, man. You don't. That's like from a movie.
Right.
What gave you that strength to say, you know, I'm going right to the gym. You know, I got this tube right here. You were there powerlifting.
Yeah, like, I don't know, my wife was the same way, like, she knew that lifting was my passion, you know? And, like, no matter how much I couldn't lift because my oxygen would drop, she'd still be right there next to me. And I also have my son, like, I'm training too, so I wanted him to know too, like, you know, no matter what I go through, I can still pull out of it and still train. Like, all things are possible. Like, so he's there watching me, and I don't want to just be there laying in bed, you know? So I'm like, trying to get right back into it. It's not only for me, it's for him too. So that's another reason why I do it. They never saw me as the person laying on a bed, you know? They just saw me as like that. My son would call me like his hero, you know?
Mm.
So I couldn't be just laying there. I had to do something, you know? But they definitely was my strength. We could all look at it like different ways, like they're my strength, I'm theirs, but they definitely are mine. I wouldn't have made it out if it wasn't for them.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring, man. On every level is, first of all, no one can imagine what you went through. But to get through that, find the strength and find the will to not only beat the deadly COVID virus, but also to get back to back to you and how you were before that incident. So that took a lot of strength, man. So I salute that and I commend that.
Yeah, thanks.
So shifting gears, powerlifting. You've broken records.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, powerlifting like started from high school. Like I was me and my friends, a group I had, like we'd always lift heavy and stuff, and like we always challenge each other. And when I got to UH, there was a bunch of guys. There was only like maybe 4 or 5, and we always say this to this day, like that team, we could have lifted against any NCAA team and we would have beat them, because we had guys all benching like 500, like Vince Monroy, Wayne Hunter, Chris Brown, them. And we were all always challenging to see who could set that UH record. But I mean, me and my brother's always been like the strong one, so like he's always pushed me. And like one day when I took it real serious and I started getting some local help, like how to powerlift, my strength just started increasing, and I was like, every time I would go in the gym and lift, like people would stop and just film me. I'm like, man, maybe I'll enter one of these competitions. So I did my first meet in like 2014. And I opened up with, I was like 270 pounds. And I was going with like 600 pound bench.
Wow.
And then my last meet was 2017, I think. Well, right now I hold like the record for 275 pound weight class.
To this day?
Yeah, still.
Wow.
That one was like 653 pounds. So yeah, it was definitely another goal I wanted to set, like for my son, really. Like, so my son would know, you know, like you can reach anything you want to if you try.
In closing, I want to thank you for having us here at Big Goose TV, here at your beautiful home, man. And just being transparent, man, and opening up not only your home, but your heart and your life story. I believe that when people watch this, they'll respect the process. They'll be appreciative of life. They won't take things for granted. And your story is it's an inspiration, my brother.
Yeah.
And I think that there's gifts and gems that you have dropped in this interview that I believe will help inspire and motivate other people. So I thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.